All right, everybody. So let's go ahead and take a look at the process that we'll use to find the source for major essay project number 2. So like I mentioned in the prompt explanation video, it's very important that we're practicing using these databases to find sources. This will be especially important for major essay project number 3. So we're getting some practice using those databases. But there's one in particular that I want to focus on, which is called opposing viewpoints, Gale, and context. So in a moment, I'll show you how to access that using the library's databases. So we'll get into that momentarily. But there are 3 things that we need to keep in mind, 3 criteria for our source to make sure that it is going to be appropriate for this assignment, for this major essay project. So the first criterion is that it needs to be a written text. Okay, so it should be an article or an essay, a written text. So not visual, not oral, or any other kind of text. It needs to be written. So standard essay or article. Criterion 2 is that it should be on an issue you care strongly about and in which you have a great interest. Okay, so whatever that issue is, so a social issue or a political issue, you should already have some sort of interest in that particular issue. You should have opinions about it already. Okay, so that's criterion 2. And then the third criterion is that the article or essay that you choose, the writer of that article needs to be espousing or expressing an argument or viewpoint or point of view with which you disagree. Okay, so do not pick an article that you agree with. All right, so that's the third criterion here. It should be an article where the author is expressing a point of view that you do not support. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at this process for how to access opposing viewpoints, Gale, and context. So on the left-hand side here in our local navigation bar, we have the library link. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. Okay, so here it's essentially the library's homepage. They've aggregated it here so we can access it through Canvas, which is great, very convenient. So this is essentially the library's homepage for Cerritos College. What we're going to click on, we're going to go to Research Databases. Okay, Research Databases. And they have a few different tabs that we can use to kind of figure out which database we need to find or how to find our databases. I'm just going to leave it here where it says databases A through Z. It's just going to organize them according to alphabetical order. So we need to go down to O for opposing viewpoints. So scrolling down here, and here we are, opposing viewpoints in context. Now, when you click on this, it's going to ask you for your login credentials. So your login information will go back up here. So students, you're going to use your Cerritos College ID number and the password. So the same information that you use to log into any other thing here at Cerritos. So just keep that in mind. That's what it'll ask you for. Let's go back down here. Where is it? Here we are. Opposing viewpoints in context, so I'll click on that. Now I'm already logged in, so it didn't ask me for my credentials, but it'll ask you. And then what we're going to do, so this is what opposing viewpoints looks like on its homepage. There's a couple of features that are pretty standard for a database, like the search field, so you can type in something and see what sort of articles they might have on that particular topic. Here on the homepage, there's issues of interest. So these are issues typically that are kind of current events that are being referenced in the news lately. So they highlight a few different ones that are of interest, you know, of the current times. Looks like they only have 3 there. But what I want you all to focus on is clicking here where it says Browse Issues. So we have this little light bulb and then Browse Issues. You can go ahead and click on that. And then, so we have 3 columns of all the topics that this particular database has sources for. Okay, so we can see here there's quite a few. There's probably a few hundred different topics. Now they're arranged in alphabetical order. So what you'll want to do is cruise through and read these, just kind of skim through, and you'll want to look for some that are issues that you care about, issues that stand out to you. Okay, so I'm just going to click one just for book banning. That's something I care about as an English instructor. So I'm just clicking this one for the sake of example. Now, this is very, very, very important. So listen up and pay attention here. So any topic that I click on, any issue that I click on is going to show me an overview of that, right? Which is what we have here. And typically it'll just show about a paragraph of it, and then you can click the read more button. But do not use this as a source. I repeat, do not use this as a source. And the reason for that is because it's not going to express a clear point of view. It's just a general overview of the topic. So it's not meant to provide a specific opinion on the topic. It's just going to talk about all the different opinions that the various figures involved in this issue have, right? So it's just meant to be overview. It's background information. You could obviously read it to kind of get a better sense of the topic, but do not use it as a source. I repeat, do not use it as a source. I know I might sound like a broken record, but every semester somebody uses it as a source, so I just need to make it abundantly clear. Do not use it as a source. All right. What you can use as a source, though, is if you just scroll down a little bit. Oh, check it out. We got all of these different possible sources. Oh, wow. Excellent. But remember, the first criterion is that it needs to be a written text. So it needs to be an article or an essay. It can't be a video. It can't be a sound recording or any other type of source. It must be an article or essay. So typically what they contain in the featured viewpoints or the viewpoints are going to be articles. So that's something that you could potentially use. So what you're going to want to do is find an article that has a point of view with which you disagree. Okay, so for example, I personally think that book banning is not a good thing. All right, so I would want to find an article where the author is arguing that it is a good thing, because that is the opposite of what I think. Okay, so I'm just going to pick one. I'm picking this one just for the sake of example to show you all. So what you'll do when you find one that potentially could be a source, you're going to want to, oftentimes they'll have a little bit of article commentary, so they'll provide you with some questions for you to think about so you can understand the article better. But you'll scroll down and then that's where the article is. So what you'd want to do is read through. Okay, that one's kind of short. So you read through it, and if it ends up being a source that you feel strongly about, it's an article where the author is expressing a point of view with which you disagree, then that is maybe something that you'd want to choose. Now, something else to keep in mind is you want to make sure that you do have a clear author for the source. So up at the top, they'll give you all the publication information. And so right here I can tell the author of this article, Neil McCluskey. Okay, so I know that there's a very clear author. So that's something to keep in mind. If there isn't a clear author, that could be a problem, because chances are it's not going to be an article that is expressing a point of view. It'll most likely just be another kind of summary article, which do not choose that type of article. It needs to be one where the author is clearly arguing something that you do not like. You disagree with what that author is saying. Okay, so you'll find the source, and then once you find the one that you think is going to be the best, you can go ahead and send it to yourself, which I strongly recommend that you do. So up here at the top, there's a button that has this little paper airplane. You could go ahead and click that, and then you have a few options for how you can send it to yourself so that you have the article, you have it saved so that you don't lose track of it down the road. So you could send it to your Google Drive, you could send it to OneDrive, or you could email it to yourself. I typically just email it to myself, pretty straightforward. So that in the to section, you'll put your email address. You don't need to put anything from. And then if you wanted to put a little message, you could just a little reminder if you needed to. But that's what you'll do. You can press send, and then it'll send you the article. So that's a way that you can keep track of it. All right, y'all. So I just want to reiterate the importance of making sure that you're choosing an article with which you disagree with the perspective being expressed. You're not disagreeing with the issue itself, like, oh, I disagree that people are arguing about this. That's not what I mean. I mean, you disagree with what the person is arguing, so their point of view about it. Okay? So keep that in mind. If you're a little unsure about the assignment or about what we're trying to accomplish in Major Essay Project 2, go back to the prompt video where I walk you through the prompt and explain it. But then, of course, if you still have questions, please let me know. You can always message me on Canvas. All right, y'all. Well, happy writing.